the RCA Dome in Indianapolis. It's round 6 of AMA Supercross. Hello, everybody. Art Ekman along with David Bailey, Marty Reed, bringing you tonight's action. Briefly, the qualifying procedure. Top 4 riders from each of 2 qualifying heats get their first choice of the gate positions, advancing directly to the main event, while the rest of the field continues on to the semifinals. We take the top 5 from each semi, awarding them a transfer to the main event, and then there's one more chance to capture a part of the record purse. The LCQ last chance qualifier. 2 more riders will make the main event from the LCQ, filling out the 250-20 rider field. Here in heat number 1, Ezra Lusk second in points, Jeff Emig third in points. Despite Ezra Lusk's bad luck last week, picking up a tough box cover in his front wheel and placing 11th, he feels he's still not out of that points chase.
Oh, I know I do. I mean, it's still early in the season, you know. It's still one of the first few races, and we have, 10 more races, 9 more races. I was 25 points down, like 4 or 5 races ago last year, and I started gaining on the 2 leaders that were battling for the championship, and so there's still definitely a chance. Jeremy hasn't had a bad race yet, and I've had 2 bad races, and I'm only 25 points away, or 27 points, whatever it is. So I'm still definitely in the hunt as far as that goes.
Ezra Lusk at the gate. Also at the gate is our Marty Reed.
And the big question, Art, is what's wrong with Jeff Emig? 14th and 8th place the last 2 rounds. He's not been a factor. And everybody's wondering what's wrong. So I said, hey, what's going on, Jeff? He says, hey, I'm riding like I got my head up my butt. And you can quote me on that. We just did.
Jeff Emig really hoping to bounce back here, David Bailey.
Well, he needs to bounce back soon. He's got that #1 plate on his bike, and he's got the expectations. He knows he can win this title. The way he's been riding so far, it doesn't look like it. He was struggling in practice, too, but I watched him make a lot of mistakes and then just work with it, work through it, and he looked better towards the end.
Only 4 riders advancing to the main event out of this qualifying round, and we've got some great riders. Beside Lusk and Emig, it's Button, Huffman, Henry, Hughes, Brown, Tortelli, the winner in the first round at Los Angeles. John Dowd, who's riding out of the 125 ranks. He's in the Western region for 125s. He's trying to make the main event here in the 250s. Our first qualifying round is underway. Jeff Emig, a pretty good start. Brown is to the inside, number 100. Emig, though, creeps out in front of Brown. And right behind Emig is number 3, Ezra Lusk.
Emig over the triple, getting a good start. Lusk coming up a little bit short right there, and this is what Emig needs. Get out, get a good start, run with the leader.
See if he can break away here in the first lap as he hits the triple with Ezra Lusk. Tortelli moving into 3rd with Ryan Hughes in 4th. Doug Henry on the 4-stroke Yamaha in 5th. He's making his assault right now on Ryan Hughes.
There's a lot of talent up front right now. There's no room for everybody to fit through these corners, and Emig has been first at the corner a bunch of times this year, but he hasn't been first out of the corner.
Jimmy Button, who took a 2nd place in San Diego last week, is already in 6th spot. He's going to have to make a move if he's going to qualify here out of the first qualifying heat.
All the guys ahead of him right now, too, are tough customers.
Boy, this is just what Jeff Emig needs.
Ryan Hughes just went down after the finish line jump, picked it up quick, and he's way back in the pack, and right behind him is his teammate Huffman.
Right now on the freight train, you see number 1, Jeff Emig, leading Ezra Lusk. Sebastian Tortelli from France. Doug Henry, number 19, and Jimmy Button has moved now up into 5th position with Mike Brown in 6th.
A heat race win right here for Emig will be a huge boost of confidence to get him going, especially with Lusk right there behind him. If he can hold him off, well, maybe I spoke too soon.
Here comes Ezra Lusk. Emig now in a bar-to-bar battle with Ezra.
That's classic Emig. Just retaliate, get him right back.
Emig in last year's race here in Indianapolis got the whole shot and won the race.
He needs to get back into that mode of getting great starts, getting in and out of the first corner. His mechanics tell him he can do it. He's got to believe in himself, and being able to race here with Lusk, who's been at all the races, at least, if not the fastest, one of the fastest guys.
Ezra triples into that corner.
It's faster as you enter the corner, but then down this next section are all kinds of plateaus and doubles. Rhythm section, we like to call it. Seems to come out about the same.
Right now, Jimmy Button is making it. An advance on Sebastian Tortelli. Button now getting by, and Ezra Lusk.
That was beautiful. Lusk went in there and positioned himself perfectly so that Emig could not square back underneath him.
Ezra Lusk now in first place. Jeff Emig at second. Button in third. Tortelli is in a battle for that final transfer position with Doug Henry.
Boy, it's a great race up front, but this race here is just unbelievable. All these guys are so close, and Button passed them all, and now he's starting to close on Emig.
Jimmy Button is on the move. Where will he end up here after our first qualifying round is over? We'll be right back to find out. AMA Supercross is being brought to you by Honda Motorcycles, celebrating 50 years with great deals during Honda's Dream Day. And by Suzuki Motorcycles and ATVs. Now during Suzuki Fest 98, get $500 worth of accessories for free and choose from great deals like zero down or low APR financing on selected models. We're back to Supercross action from Indianapolis, Indiana. The battle for second place, Jimmy Button and Jeff Emig. Out in front is Ezra Lusk in our opening qualifying round. We've got all kinds of excitement already, David Bailey.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Button is just riding phenomenal. Still on a high from San Diego, past Emig. Emig's got him right back, the same as he did with Lusk. I was just about to say, well, there goes all Emig's confidence because he's just getting passed by everybody, but he got him right back. He's still in the fight.
Jeff Emig reaching back, trying to hold back the Chaparral Yamaha of Jimmy Button. Button triples into that corner, and he's got the edge. They trick each other. Oh, look out. Who's under whom? Jimmy Button comes in, doesn't get the angle as he picked up what looked like a cover off of one of the bales. Ezra Lusk, our leader. Button in second place. Emig now boxes in.
Well, that time Emig, a little bit of payback in the same corner where Button made the move. While these guys are battling, now Henry's right there.
Here comes Henry on Button. Jeff Emig now trying to secure second place.
That was a little sketchy as Emig tried to use up most of the racetrack and just protect his line and maybe and then some. Button almost went off the racetrack, collected almost a hay bale in the bike, got lucky, and just it was the cover.
With 3 laps to go, it might be time to be a little careful. You've got your 4th playoff or mandatory spots open for the main event secured. Why give Mickael Brown a chance who's in 5th place? Ezra Lusk almost the length of the whoops ahead of Jeff Emig, but here comes Jimmy Button looking for second place. Button goes down. Here comes Mike Brown. And so it's Ezra Lusk, Jeff Emig, Henry, and Mike Brown.
That is the one weakness of Button. The guy is phenomenal. He's a great rider, great skill, a lot of aggression, but he just sometimes makes a bad decision right there. Like you just said, Art, he needed to get himself into the main event. He's obviously fast. He can pass pretty much anywhere on the track. Get in the main.
Looked like he was preoccupied, looking back at the bike he was trying to block pass.
And that's what they've been talking to him about in the Chaparral pit. Just do your own race.
Henry is still not giving up the thought, as you see number 19 on the Yamaha, of taking over second place against Jeff Emig. Mickael Brown is holding off Sebastian Tortelli for the final playoff. Inside Henry. Here comes Emig.
It looked like Emig was just going to try to square that. Had settled for getting passed right there by Henry.
Henry bobbles. Emig, though, was right behind him. Final lap. Ezra Lusk way out in front.
He had just decided, okay, he's going to get me. I'll square him off and pass him back. Then he made that mistake. He just gave it to Henry. And then you see what happens when you follow. He was in that best line right there. Henry made a mistake. He had nowhere to go. He still can get him here in the last lap. Emig is a fighter. He won't give up. Lusk is gone.
Brown is very close to Emig as well, coming up on his rear.
You can bet that in the starting line of the next heat race, Jeremy's got a close eye on Lusk out there because his pace is fast.
A 10-second lead for Ezra Lusk. Ezra takes the checkers. He has won our first qualifying heat. Mickael Brown has passed Emig. So it'll be Henry in second, Mickael Brown in third. Emig makes the main event in fourth. Oh, what a battle to lead off our action from Indianapolis, Indiana. We'll be right back. one of the key elements in our first qualifying heat, David Bailey.
Well, you see, number 11 right there, Jimmy Button, going for the pass on Emig. Almost went over the bars at the entrance of the section. Tries for the block pass, but he tries way too sharp of a cut. The front wheel dives in, and both Henry and Emig go by.
So these four riders get to relax as they're going directly to the main event. Lusk, Henry, Brown, Emig. Well, we've got a packed semifinal coming up later with Button, Huffman, Hughes, Tortelli, John Dowd. We've got all kinds of talent having to go to the semifinals, Marty Reed.
Well, absolutely. We're going to work our way in here and talk to Yogi as he is... I guess the biggest question is it's really nice not to have to worry about a streamer getting tied up in your front spoke.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You know, I can hit the woods and not worry about having to go over the handlebars. But, I don't know, this crowd is great in Indianapolis. I wish we could go to this every weekend, but we've had great crowds this year, and it's been a lot of fun putting the Honda up front and Fox and Dunlop.
I have to ask you, though, I mean, you had to work your way back. You didn't get the start that you wanted, and the track is deteriorating. The start in the main seems to be, it's going to be very, very critical.
Yeah, for sure. I really think we made a great selection with tires, and Honda's furnished me with a great bike, and I think we're going to be up there in the front with the start. I think I had the start in that heat race, but I went a little too wide.
Well, we'll find him out in the main, and heat number 2 is coming up.
Thanks, Marty. As we go to the second qualifying heat, this young man, Jeremy McGrath, the points leader, getting ready now. Jeremy's second win in a row last week in San Diego was proof positive that he feels confident in his quest for a 5th Supercross title.
Most importantly for me is the feeling I have inside. You know, the confidence level is way up again, and I'm feeling more comfortable with my racing and back to where I think I belong and I think I should be. You know, it's oftentimes hard to sit back and take second place like last year, and it's, you know, with a lot of mistakes and circumstances that happen. But, you know, after winning 2 races in a row, it's really, really exciting.
Along with Jeremy McGrath, you see number 4, Larry Ward in our shot. Kevin Windham, Mike LaRocco, Mickael Pichon, Michael Craig, Greg Albertyn, Jimmy Ferry, Phil Lawrence, John Sebastian Roy, Steve Lamson trying to work himself back into shape. Kevin Windham having a tough time coming out of practice this week. He was going about 55 miles an hour in 5th gear when he fell down in a gravel.
He's got a raspberry all the way down his shoulder and arm. It's pretty tender out there, and you get sweaty. The jersey's sticking to it, and all that motion through the whoop-de-doos. It's got to be a little bit of a distraction for him, but he looked pretty good in practice. I talked to his mechanic. He said if he can just ride better in the races. He rides great. A lot of times he's the fastest in practice, but he can't put it together in the main.
Okay, we're set to go for the second qualifying heat. Who will get the whole shot here on this important track? It's number 13, Michael Craig, is out in front, but will he catch the whole shot? Craig, number 13, the leader, but Jeremy McGrath right behind him.
3 wide through the air off the triple.
Lamson, number 17, to the inside on the Honda. But right now, Honda of choice, Michael Craig, trying to establish the lead. Jeremy McGrath tripling into the corner, goes to the outside to swing up. Here comes McGrath, look out. He wants to get him early. Number 24, Lawrence, is in 4th. Windham right behind him. Lamson, a bobble. Lamson back battling for 4th with Windham.
In practice, Art, Mike Craig was all over McGrath, both sessions, trying to learn as much as possible. And usually McGrath will pull off. Doesn't want anyone to follow him around, learn his stuff. He just stayed out there, let Mike follow him around. It appears that it paid off a little bit. Mike's comfortable out there running in front of him.
A little bobble by McGrath in that corner now, and he's lost some time to Michael Craig. Craig so far this year, he won a heat back at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, and that's when he got on the podium in a 3rd place spot. But since that time, he's been saddled with 2 15th-place finishes.
I know he's not happy about that. Capable of a lot better. Little mistake there by Craig this time. McGrath gains a little bit.
Jeremy having to put on the brakes, almost clipping the back tire. Here he goes through the rhythm section into the ropes. Jeremy McGrath in 1st place with Michael Craig. Then Phil Lawrence on Kawasaki of Mexico. Steve Lamson right behind him. I'm surprised Windham hasn't made a move, and Mike LaRocco is behind Windham.
I think they're trying as hard as they can, but I've heard a lot of the talk in the pits. The track tonight is fast. Everyone's running about the same pace. And when you're trying as hard as you can, and the guy in front of you is not making any mistakes, it's just tough to make up ground. But McGrath has proven it's possible. So was Button in that Heat 1.
Jeremy McGrath, who's won 4 in a row here in Indianapolis before last year. And last year, of course, had all kinds of problems. He would just as soon forget about it. He pushes it out of his mind. In 1997, coming up with a 9th place finish. He's established the lead now, as Craig is going to have to fight for his life. He's got Lawrence in 3rd behind him. And number 17, Lampson and Windham in the same order. So far, very little passing on the bubble.
I think there's going to be some. Lawrence's position is going to be threatened. Lawrence has got a great start. He can run with these guys, especially in a heat race. Only 8 laps, 20-lap final. Gets a lot tougher, but Lawrence has just been telling me, he goes, I just got to get a start, get up there, run with these guys, figure out what they're doing. I know I can do it.
The checkers and 4 more riders advance to the main event when we get back.
Your DirecTV at 1-800-GET-SPORTS.
It is our second qualifying heat from Indianapolis, Indiana. Jeremy McGrath leading. But the battle right here, as you see, number 24, Bill Lawrence, cutting off Michael Craig for 2nd place. Steve Lampson in 4th. 4 riders qualifying, going into the main event out of this heat. Windham still has a shot at Steve Lampson. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed bringing you this action. And David, we've seen some unbelievable heat qualifying action this year, and that's sending a lot of names to the semi.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One is what a phenomenal year in terms of talent. There's so much depth. Another is the design of the racetrack. Pretty wide open. Even the Whoop section's pretty good for passing, and there's actually 4 triples out here on this racetrack. A couple of the usual ones and a couple more, so it forces the riders to get very creative. And look at that.
4 riders fighting for 5 spots. There are only 3 spots out of this bunch. And all of a sudden, we've got Craig, Lawrence, and now Windham in the top 4 positions. Steve Lampson trying to battle back with LaRocco on his tail.
Yeah, there's so much room out there for these guys to get in there and get side by side and dice it. But I think at the level of McGrath, who's just long gone, and also Lusk in that first heat, at their level, this best line out here might be only about 3 or 4 inches wide.
49-second laps, David Bailey.
Pretty fast, a little faster than usual. It's not like they run the same racetrack every week and we can use 49 seconds to compare that and say, boy, that's fast. But it's definitely going to be a little bit quicker main event. Usually the lap times are a little bit over a minute, right around a minute. At 49 seconds, 8 laps goes by quick.
Jeremy McGrath has moved out to a 5-second lead. You see Kevin Windham there in 4th place. That's the final qualifying position. Windham, who's had all kinds of trouble with that laceration, the length of his body down the right side. Just scraped the skin like he went across a cheese grater. But he's holding in, and it looks like he's riding painless. Lawrence goes flying down behind those yellow barriers. Number 24, a bad break for Bill Lawrence. And so let's recap the action now, David. Is Jeremy McGrath way out in front. And it's Michael Craig safely in 2nd. Windham safely for the moment in 3rd, with Lampson in 4th. But Mike LaRocco could take over that final spot. Bill Lawrence still can't get that Kawasaki started. He went down hard.
Looks like he's going to be okay, but he has bent the bike. It's going to take a lot of work for his mechanic to get it ready for the semi, which is coming up shortly.
Final lap. Jeremy McGrath already proceeding on the final round on the circuit for this first qualifying heat. Here's number 5, Mike LaRocco. LaRocco coming back to his home track. He lives in South Bend, Indiana.
All the riders that time forced to just single that triple right over all 3 jumps because Lawrence was down there in the corner. Hadn't been moved off the track just yet. And what a battle, what a lot of talent. Looks like it's going to have to go to the semi number 2.
Jeremy McGrath is just coasting along the Whoop section now as we see the battle with Lampson and Mike LaRocco. It's LaRocco moving into a spot for the main event. Here comes Lampson back again in the Whoops. My goodness, this is the last lap. They've only got 1 more turn to go. It's Jeremy McGrath taking the checkers. Michael Craig in second. Windham in third. And it'll be Mike LaRocco just edging out Steve Lampson for that final spot. Marty Reed's on his way to the winner's podium for insight from Jeremy McGrath. As McGrath's going to take some time, Marty, getting over there. We'll take a break. Jeremy McGrath, the decisive victory here in the first qualifying heat with Michael Craig, Kevin Windham, and Mike LaRocco making it to the main event. Phil Lawrence proving that anything can happen at any time in motorcycle racing, especially AMA Supercross. Marty, let's go down to you for the chat with Jeremy.
And it's his 5th heat win in a row, and I had you clocked at 49-second laps. I mean, that is quick.
Yeah, Randy was telling me 49 seconds on the board, and you know, I felt really good. I got it straight out of the gate. My Bridgestone tires really hooked up, and you know, that's what you need out here. There's so many good guys. You need to be out in front right away.
All right, you're one step closer to another moment in history, number 64.
Yeah, I'm tied right now with Rick Johnson and Bob Hanna and me with 63 wins, and if I can manage to pull a win off tonight here in Indy and get 64, then guess I'll be the winningest rider ever.
Well, I have this feeling, knowing how confident you have been over the last few races, that you expect to be talking to me at the end of the evening.
Oh, I expect to be up here. You know, I expect nothing less. And my Chaparral 800 Collect Yamaha has put me out in front the last 2 weeks. And if we can do it again, we'll be real happy.
Guys, 49-second laps. This is a holy terror waiting to be turned loose in the main.
And Marty, lots of racing left on the 98 season. Check out the location near you as we go next to Atlanta for the Georgia Dome, and then down to Tampa, over to Daytona for Bike Week. We go next to the Superdome in New Orleans before heading north to Minnesota, St. Louis, and Pontiac. Then it's Charlotte Motor Speedway on the 18th of April, on to Texas Stadium, and then on to Las Vegas for the finale for the 250s, and of course the East-West 125 shootout. Art Ekman and David Bailey, after just completing the Heat 1 and Heat 2 of our qualifying rounds. You know, Heat 1, I thought, hey, Jeff Emig might be back. Got the whole shot and was working well out in front.
Well, he was initially, but then the pressure of Lusk, I think, got to him, and it looked to me like he shifted all of a sudden. He started not riding his own race. He's looking around a lot, trying to block a lot, and the way the track's designed, a lot of guys trying to put block passes on him, and he just rode defensive from there on out, and it didn't look good. I bet he's not a happy camper right now.
One thing we experienced in the heat races, too, when you got a good position as far as getting into the main event, don't test it. Jimmy Button went down needlessly.
I think he's still riding on a lot of confidence from San Diego, and he looked like he had the speed of Ezra Lusk, but once again, a bad decision, and now he's going to have to go through the semi, and it's just more wear and tear on you, and more wear and tear on your mechanic as well.
We're always used to seeing Michael Craig, number 13 this year, Honda of Troy, with good fast starts, especially on soil that he likes. And Craig did it again in Heat 2, got out in front.
Well, he looked good, and not good enough to contain McGrath, who was just awesome, but Craig has proven that he can get up there on the podium. He did it in Phoenix, and I'm sure he wants to do it again.
Of course, McGrath taking over things, but then Lawrence, Phil Lawrence, had his way in second place when he went down.
Right, and I didn't get a chance to exactly see what happened there, but it was off the triple, and those are going to get rutted. The faces of those, and later in the race, it's going to look like a comb. Very technical.
So we have a loaded semifinal round coming up, that's for sure. People trying to avoid the last chance qualifier. We'll be right back to Indianapolis, Indiana after this. AMA Supercross is being brought to you by Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Quality training for the motorcycle industry.
Cents a minute every evening, all week long.
Let's take a look back at the 1986 season, the doubleheader in the Kingdome in Seattle. When the gate dropped, number 20, Ricky Ryan, the only true privateer to ever win a Supercross, grabbed the whole shot, but he was hounded by legends. Johnson, O'Mara, Glover, and Jeff Ward kept the pressure on Ryan, but it was O'Mara first to strike. That inside line took over the lead. But the first few laps of the race were always Ricky Ryan's strength, and when O'Mara drifted a little wide, Ryan was back into the lead, this time allowing Johnson to sneak by on the inside and take over second. But Ryan's lead was short-lived as Johnson, with an aggressive inside pass, took over the lead and began to pull away. The only trouble for Johnson was in this corner right here. As he came out, something appeared to be wrong with the rear wheel. Looking down, turned out to be nothing. Johnson was on his way as Ward began to pressure O'Mara. And with an inside line and a clean pass, Ward was around and into second. But in the same corner where Johnson had his problems, Ward stuffs it in, barely saves it, keeping it on two wheels for second as Johnson picks up his second win of the season and route to his first Supercross title.
Last year, one of the highlights on the way to the championship for Emig. This year, Emig simply trying to turn his season around as we get set for our first semifinal round. Lots of riders, David Bailey, trying to make the main event out of this one, and one, including right there.
Yep, Jimmy Button looked great in his heat race. Looked like he was going to go up and challenge the leader, but big mistake cost him. Now he's got to ride more laps.
Let's take a look at the Suzuki track map.
Well, the track here is interesting. They've got a lot of new obstacles. The starting line, for one, they've got some rollers in there, not quite jumps. The first turn's only used for the start. Big wide first turn. Then they have the first triple. Then they come across the other side of the track, another triple. A tough whoop section, another triple before the finish line.
Okay, 30-second board is down, and we are underway for our first semifinal round. You saw Jimmy Button get a bad start and get sealed off there as he tried to elbow his way through. It is Tortelli, Sebastian Tortelli, the winner in Los Angeles, out to the lead, number 103, but cutting to the inside is doing a great job getting back up in a second is Jimmy Button, number 11.
Great through the first corner. Really smart. That's what McGrath has always been so good at. Is he doesn't get the best start. He's able to make the right decisions in the first couple of corners, come out good.
Heath Voss is in third. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, you mentioned Jimmy Button in that heat race. He got a case of the red mist. Jeff Emig cut him off in the corner prior. He saw Emig and wanted to retaliate, and he got a little too aggressive, and that's what put him down. He realized his mistake. He says, it ain't going to happen again, fellas. Just watch me.
Okay, our leader is Tortelli. Next is Jimmy Button with Voss. And here comes number 15, Damon Huffman. Huffman, Team Kawasaki to the inside, and Ryan Hughes goes roaring by in the corner. Hughes did a cartwheel.
That's the same corner where Hughes went down in the heat race. It was a different reason this time, but still, you can see the frustration right there, shaking his head, knowing better than that.
So it looks like Ryan Hughes, unless we have a massive disaster up front, is going to have to go to his second LCQ of the year. Jimmy Button making the move for the lead on Tortelli. Button to the outside on the whoops. Jimmy Button. One thing he can do is go through that whoop section.
Using that tall frame, that always worked good for me. A little tougher for somebody like Ricky Carmichael in the 125 class because your feet are barely touching the foot pegs as it is. That seat comes up and hits you in the rear end, and there's no travel.
Number 11, Jimmy Button, with his best 250 finish of the year, a second behind teammate Jeremy McGrath last week, says everything is coming together. He anticipates getting his first win sometime this year.
Seattle was a big learning experience for me, and I think looking back now, I'm almost kind of glad in a way that, you know, the pressure got to me a little bit in Seattle, and I was able to, instead of not knowing what went wrong, I really was able to look at it and find some things that I did wrong. And, you know, last weekend I was able to go back and, you know, fix the things that I made mistakes on. So hopefully I can just, you know, just keep learning and, you know, not really worry about trying to beat Jeremy right now or anything like that. Just trying to ride my best I can every weekend. And I think if I keep doing that, then, you know, eventually I'm going to get a win this year. And I think I'm riding well enough right now. Just, you know, just going to take some time to get used to being up front and just everything coming together.
Jimmy Button, our leader here in the first semifinal round. Getting by Tortelli in second place, Damon Huffman in third. Voss is hung up on the bales. And John Dowd has now moved into a qualifying situation.
Now, Button through that loop section has been so fast, but this is a really tricky section. They're very deep, and they're spaced pretty far apart towards the end, so if you drop the front wheel in there, want to miss your timing, it's just about over the bars, and I've seen him come pretty close to that a few times.
5 out of the semifinal round qualifying for the main event. Let's see if it'll be this 5 when we get back. Welcome back to the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Marty Reed, as we take a look at the leader here in our first semifinal round. The top 5 riders making it out of this one to go to the main event. So it would be at this point Button in the lead. You see his lead interval right there. Tortelli is getting a challenge from number 15, a Team Kawasaki teammate, John Dowd, and Voss was in 5th and just went over the bars in the whoops.
That's just those last few bumps for the whoops. That time the leader, we had the camera right on. Jimmy Button jumped the last 3 right into the corner. Beautiful. Voss not so lucky. 49.1 second lap times for Jimmy Button, so he's on the pace of McGrath. There's Voss. He's not getting up from this one.
He just went flying over the bars.
No point in getting up in a hurry right now. Just take inventory and get yourself situated so you can be competitive in that last chance qualifier.
So it's a big break, I think, for Kevin Klein. Kevin Klein, number 63, is on the bubble in the 5th spot. On the final lap, I think Mike Caton, I don't think he'll be able to catch up.
1 lap for Button. He gives them a little bit more time out there on the racetrack to get things sorted out. But before the main, I have a feeling, Art, they're going to go out there with the dozers and try to fix some of the deep-rutted situations. So the way they work the track over these days, really looking at the racetrack a lot, doesn't make that big of a difference going to the main.
Jimmy Button had to go to the semifinal round last week before taking 2nd place in the main event. So Button is on his way to winning his 2nd consecutive semifinal round.
See the different timing through that section of Huffman and Tortelli. What Huffman would need to do right here, well, he's doing it. As Dave, try to get down there, hit that berm, and square it off.
These are teammates. You're not going to see any rough action, I don't believe, out of this. He had a chance to T-bone him right there. The checkered flag, and Jimmy Button with a very fine run here in the semifinal round. Semifinal number 2, and Marty's discussion with Jimmy Button coming up next. So these 5 riders now advancing to the main event here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Button, Tortelli, Huffman, Dowd, and Kevin Klein taking advantage of some of the crashes right in front of him. Let's go down to the victory podium now with Marty Reed.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when this man stays focused. We told everybody what you shared with me with the heat race, where you got a little too aggressive trying to get back on Jeff Emig.
Yeah, I just I let my emotions get to me out there on the track, and the best thing for Jimmy Button is just to go out, ride my own race, and not really. If I get into an instance like that in the main event, I'm definitely going to take it differently. So it was another learning experience. This is shaping up to be a great final because you were turning 49.1. That's the same as Ezra, same as Jeremy. You got to be stoked. Yeah, I'm totally stoked. I've been riding really good yesterday and today, so hopefully I just go out, get another good start like I did in the heat race, and hopefully it'd be real nice for me, Jeremy, and Ezra to go 1, 2, 3 and put on a good race and really show the Honda guys and everybody else that we're for real. Yeah, but you want to be number 1, right? Oh, of course. Okay, guys, the confidence factor is on the rise again.
We see Lee McCollum, the mechanic for Larry Ward, and Larry Ward of Team Suzuki in the semifinal round now, the 2nd one, trying to get into that main event. Last week, he took his 5th place in the main after a 2nd in the semifinal. His best of the year was a 4th place finish at the Kingdom, an inspiring performance, really. Number 7, trying to make it into the main once again, is Greg Albertyn, who has had just a suffering year this year in trying to get an effective performance. Number 154 was Gary Hyatt from Henderson, Nevada. Steve Lampson coming back from the collarbone break. Number 17, still not very strong, but he's back there. Sebastian Roy, number 80, next to him. And number 16 was Mickael Pichon. So you've got some very talented riders. The top 5 from our 2nd semifinal will advance to the main event.
Also, Phil Lawrence, who had a pretty good run going in his heat race till he crashed. Also in this one, if he gets a good start, he'll be up there ready to mix it up with the leader. He's been riding good. Just a lot of these guys, they all pretty much saying the same thing. The start has become more and more important this year.
Board sideways. Getting nervous. Revving it up. The gate will drop any second. And Our second semifinal is underway. Pichon, number 16, gets the immediate advantage out of the gate. Lamson goes wide. He gets hung up. Oh, what a mess. Sebastian Roy's number 80. 16 is Mickael Pichon. The Frenchman from near Le Mans is battling it out with the French-Canadian.
Well, what happened in the first corner was Lamson went so wide, he took Ferry, who's now dead last all the way to the outside. Pichon goes for the triple.
Pichon very quick on the Team Suzuki. Cutting to the inside, number 24 in third is Phil Lawrence once again, with Larry Ward right behind him and Steve Lamson in fifth. Sebastian Roy in second, losing that position on a bar-to-bar battle right now with Phil Lawrence. Lawrence having trouble in the whoops. So Pichon clears the whoops, number 1. Jean-Sebastian Roy, number 80 in second. Phil Lawrence cutting inside. A momentary third as Ward goes by him. What a battle for those final bubble spots.
And behind that battle is Greg Albertyn, who didn't get a very good start. So once again, having to come from behind, struggling. And Larry Ward right there going for the double. Scary, these first couple of laps of the race, especially in the final, when you're jumping triples and the guys in front of you, you're not sure what they're going to do.
Mickael Pichon already, David, with a 1-second lead.
Starting to pull away. It doesn't surprise me that he's pulling away from Roy. He's on a little bit different level, but Roy is definitely holding his own. He's got a lot of company back there. He's going to need to stay on the gas.
Sebastian Roy had to go to the LCQ to get into the main in San Diego. Here comes Ward to the outside. A good sweeping movement on the straightaway for the Team Suzuki number 4. So 2 Team Suzuki riders out in front here in the second semifinal round. Sebastian Roy, his best finish in a main was last week a 17th. He won an LCQ in Houston. And that's the lone checkered flag that he's seen this year. Number 24 is Phil Lawrence, and Steve Lamson to the outside. Team Honda is giving him a challenge now as they go into the triple.
Lap times of Pichon right now are just over 51 seconds, so a little bit off the pace of what we're seeing Lusk and Jeremy and Jimmy Button turn. And right now, at the tail end of this battle, Greg Albertyn sits in 6th. So one of these guys is not going to make it to the final.
Boy, what's gonna decide it? Maybe a crash. We've seen a lot of them so far in the qualifying rounds. Hold on, we'll be right back. Welcome back to our second semifinal qualifier here at Indianapolis, Indiana. These riders are trying to avoid the LCQ. It's Mickael Pichon out in front with Larry Ward in second place. Here is the battle, though. 17 Lamson in third, Lawrence in fourth, Sebastian Roy in fifth, and right now, out of a qualifying position, is number 7, Albertyn.
He's been right there. He's been pretty steady. Close in this battle. You see right there, bar to bar, I'm using your line, Art, with Jean-Sebastian Roy, and Roy is just getting eaten alive by these guys right now.
Down on the floor of the stadium with the mechanics area, Marty Reed.
Yeah, before the race, I was talking with Ian Harrison, and we talked how much this game is mental for these riders, and he didn't know what to do with Greg Albertyn. He says, when he won last year at LA, the first race out, he set the tone for the new season, had a very good campaign. Right now, they can't seem to find their way to the finish line. He's in the main event right now, but he has been searching for some way to motivate his rider to get him back on that focus.
Right now, he's made his way as Pichon, Ward, Lamson, Lawrence, and Albertyn. Albertyn was able during that commentary to pass Sebastian Roy. Sebastian Roy, though, not giving up on the situation.
Now he's hanging tough, but he's got a lot of talent surrounded by. And out front, Larry Ward is really starting to pressure Pichon.
That's the shot. Pichon to the right. Larry Ward right behind him. Over the finish line jumps. We've got 1 lap to go. White flag lap. Pichon, Ward, Lamson, the top 3.
Now Lawrence has had a problem. That's going to drop him out of it. Looks like that's going to put Roy back into the main event.
And so send Phil Lawrence to the LCQ if it stays that way. Here's our leader, Mickael Pichon. Pichon's had a kind of a tough year. He's shown a great speed, but he's also gone down a lot, David.
Well, he looked great at LA, and then Houston, he was looking good again in the practice on Friday. And then in the race, the qualifier, that nasty crash he had just sort of took the wind out of his sails. He's trying to get it back.
Last week, his best finish is 6th. That's the 4th at LA. The checkers are waving for Mickael Pichon. Larry Ward, also of Team Suzuki, right behind him. Lampson will be 3rd, and 4th will be Albertyn. Jean-Sebastian Roy, number 80, on the Kawasaki, will also make it to the main event out of this semifinal qualifying round. We'll be right back after this. So in our final semifinal round here in Indianapolis at the RCA Dome, Mickael Pichon making his way into the main event tonight with Larry Ward right behind him of Team Suzuki. Team Honda Steve Lampson a 3rd. Greg Albertyn of Team Suzuki also making it to the main. And Jean-Sebastian Roy, the privateer on the Kawasaki, making it in the 5th position. That's the 2nd time this year he's been able to make the main out of the semifinal round. Let's go down to Marty and hear from Mickael Pichon.
Yeah, and he's a very happy Mickael Pichon. The guys have talked about the fact that it's been an up-and-down season for you. It started out real well. Houston was a disaster. Looks like you may be back on track.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I mean, I'm riding good. I know I have the speed. I have a pretty good energy right now. I've been working a lot. My Suzuki's riding good. But I still make a lot of mistakes, and that's what I need to work on. I mean, I'm not smooth enough. I can be smooth if I'm riding by myself, you know, but when the race comes, I make a lot of mistakes. I'm very nervous. That's why I need to work very hard, because with all those mistakes, I lose a lot of time, and I don't think if I make that much mistake, I'll be able to win. So that's the point I need to work on.
Well, and it's not been that great a season for Suzuki. I mean, Larry Ward finished right behind you, but you guys have not found victory lane yet. Now, pressure has been building, right?
Yeah, we need a podium now. I mean, we've been working a lot. All the guys are working hard. We practice very hard, and I think our worst point right now is the starts. We need to get one of us. I mean, Greg or Larry. I mean, we all can win a race. They've done it before. We just need to get good starts and still work a little bit on the bike, and I think we can make it.
Mickael Pichon, we'll see him in the main event.
David Bailey pointing up the difference between competition and practice riding.
Right, it's a totally different thing to go out there and do your best in a race situation. A lot of the guys practice starts. They practice 10 perfect starts. Then in the race, when everyone's next to you and there's so much noise, harder to do the same thing, once you're out there on the racetrack.
And as you see it on the screen, our next telecast is from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, February 27th. That's a Friday, and 8 p.m. right here on ESPN2. The future superstars, the 125s, the main event coming up next.
Welcome to the Naismith House.
Welcome back to the RCA Dome. Tim Ferry of No Lean and Ryan Hughes of Team Kawasaki, 1 and 2 in the LCQ just concluded, so that fills out the gate for the 250s as we get ready for the 125. Art Ekman along with David Bailey. David, we've just got through covering 5 rounds of 125 Western action where we have one of the closest points races, a 1-point race between John Dowd, leader, and David Villeman. And here we come with the opener now, the 125 Eastern Division, where almost everyone concedes that Ricky Carmichael, it's his title to lose.
Right, and that's a lot of pressure. And what we have to remember is that Ricky Carmichael is a kid. It's a lot of pressure that everyone's putting on him. They expect him to win. I know he puts a lot on himself. So do his parents, and he expects himself to win, but that doesn't always mean you're going to.
Scott Sheik injuring an Achilles tendon before the season ever started out west in a practice warm-up race, and that just eliminates one more contender.
Well, it's going to be tough for there's a lot of kids that I think don't have nearly the experience or the speed that Ricky Carmichael has, but last year we saw Carmichael make mistakes, and the next guy in line, I believe, that has a chance to really challenge RC is Robbie Rayner. He looks good. He already had a little bit of experience on a 250 last week, so that should help him.
As far as Carmichael, there was little hesitation in his voice when asked about the opener here in Indianapolis.
Last year I kind of didn't use my head, and I'm just going to try to come out and win my heat race, start the year off good, and try to win that main event. I got to focus on the whole shot, because if I can get that whole shot, it's going to be my race. You know, it's a long off season, like I said earlier, and I've been putting a lot of time and effort into it and finding out what I did wrong last year. So if I get that whole shot, man, I think I can pull it off.
Ricky Carmichael out on the track, surveying the situation, David Bailey, as we take a look at the Suzuki starting grid.
It's like a warm-up lap these guys get before they go out. Tracks changed a lot since their heat races, and they used to just ride around the track. Well, now, since they don't give them a time limit, they take it all and try to check out anything that can help them in the main.
This is a pivotal first round for the 125s in the Eastern Division, because in 13 years of 125 Eastern racing, 10 of those times the winner of the first round has gone on to win the title. Let's go down to Marty.
Well, guys, you were talking about Ricky Carmichael in his heat race. I talked to Chad Watts. He's the odds-on favorite for the championship, and everybody said, hey, listen, keep an eye on this guy, because he's going to drive his own race. He's going to try and do it in a style so that he doesn't end up taking himself out of the championship. It's his championship to lose, and he did exactly what they wanted him to in that heat race. What I find interesting is Carmichael's going to line up right down here on the inside, right by the doghouse. But come on down here, because the other competitor that we all think that is going to be the top guy is Robbie Rayner. And look where he's lining up, all the way to the outside. David Bailey, a big gamble here for one of them.
Well, Carmichael's going to have to get a great jump to come from the middle of the starting line, where Rayner is actually, it's the outside, depending on how you look at it, but actually going down the straightaway with the left-hand first corner. He's all the way to the inside. I used to kind of like to favor the inside of the start. That way, if it didn't come out too good, everything would get pushed wide and it could still come out okay. But he doesn't get a good jump right there. Number 41 and Nick Way right there, number 67, can close him off, and he'll be mid-pack before he even gets to the corner.
Okay, it's get nervous time now for the 125s. And these guys from the East, David Bailey, have waited a long time. Many of them working out, getting ready with the 125 West some 6 weeks ago. They've been pumped all this time.
It's awful. I'm watching all the races on TV and seeing it in Cycle News and going, God, I just need to get my turn. And you got to bet Carmichael's been a little bit nervous, like a little animal waiting to be let out of a cage, because this kid is aggressive. But in the heat race, he was pretty contained. He did what he had to do, rode very smart.
And the crowd starting to feel the tension now of the main event. 52,784, a new RCA Dome record here in Indianapolis to check out the start of the 125 East Division. They're taking plenty of time as the 30-second board is now up. When that goes sideways, they'll have from 5 to 10 seconds. They don't know when. The guy in the doghouse will flip the switch, and the gate will fall.
One nice thing about being right next to that starter's box, or what they call the doghouse, there you see the guy in there with the AMA shirt. He'll drop that gate. Carmichael's got all that room of that doghouse until the guy to his right when they come across the gate. So if he makes a little bobble, or the guy next to him, he's at least got a little elbow room to his right.
Good point, David Bailey. It was John Dowd, one of his 2 wins last year, who won this event in the 125 East. The card is sideways. Let's see how number 6 gets out of the gate. They're off. Rayner to the inside. But once again, a good start by Gregory Rand. 163 like he did in his heat race. Coming out of the first turn, it is bar to bar. Rand and number 583, Derek Shane Bentley. 2 triple digits out in front with Rayner and Ricky Carmichael bar to bar right in back of him.
It looks like Carmichael's going to come out ahead. They're going to be side by side, right behind the leaders, all the way down the straightaway. Carmichael reaching for a tear-off in the air, almost runs into the back of Rand. Just great reflexes to sneak through there.
Carmichael battling in third now.
That's a risky place to reach up and clear his vision.
Derek Shane Bentley from Ellenwood, Georgia. Number 583 is the next target for Ricky Carmichael. Right behind Ricky, though, is Robbie Rayner. He's got great speed and can come back. Here comes Rayner. Oh, my goodness, and Carmichael leaps into second place.
Well, if you don't jump the triple on a 125, Carmichael's going to do it and jump right over the top of you. This kid is so aggressive. He's going to go for it.
Gregory Rand of Hillsboro, Ohio, in first place. jumped both of those triples going into the corner.
Carmichael already got a look at this kid, ran in the heat race. Passed him a couple of times. So I think he knows how to deal with him. If that was Raynard, it'd be a little different story.
Bentley goes down. That gives a clear chase for Robbie Raynard in third. Moving into fourth is Sean Perolio.
So now what you're going to see is Raynard coming from behind, which I think he does a little bit better than starting out front. A lot of problems with the arm pump last year, and this time Rand doesn't go for the triple. Carmichael does, and there's the gap. It's getting close.
Carmichael a little more patient this year. He was 19th here last year with a bad start in 13th and then crashed with Sellers.
Well, if he's going to be a little bit too patient, number 21, Raynard, is right back there behind him, looking aggressive. I thought a little bit more confident and aggressive of the two in the heat races.
Taking a different line in the whoops. Here comes Ricky Carmichael. RC to the inside. RC's got the angle. Raynard cuts in. Oh, baby.
Well, I didn't think there was any room for that. I think he had to tuck his elbows in to make that work. That'll give Carmichael a little bit of time to pull away in case Raynard can't get around Rand right away. And already, just behind Carmichael, these guys both had to go for the double. That gives them a little lead.
So it's 54.1 seconds, David Bailey.
I think that's going to get faster.
A lap time for Ricky Carmichael now as he tries to pull away. Robbie Raynard holding on, wants to stay close.
Beautiful shot of Raynard around that berm. Just laid it over, almost dragging the handlebar.
It's Gregory Rand in third, and in fourth now is Casey Lytle, Honda of Troy, number 33. But right now you see the two contenders. Oh, getting pretty close. Robbie Raynard looking for his advantage now. The Oklahoma lad cuts in front.
Saw that coming.
He takes the lead from RC.
I don't think Carmichael expected him to, really felt him that close. Thought, oh, I can go out here and use the outside, and you have to. If you got a little bit of a lead, you got to go out there and get a run at the double out of the corner.
Boy, would this be an upset as we take a look at the mechanics area.
I think Raynard's mechanic is happy with the rhythm he's got out there. He's saying, cool rhythm, keep it going. Now, Carmichael, I'm sorry, Art. Carmichael's going to have to answer this challenge because already he's starting to lose a little time.
Raynard with good practice times, I was going to say, David, and really looked consistent in his practices. He only had 4 podiums last year, 3 of those second places, no wins. And really, though, with the exception of a 12th in Minneapolis and a very poor East-West shootout in Las Vegas, he had a good season.
Now, I know he'd like to better it. Starting out pretty good right here. There's a couple ways to look at Carmichael's performance so far, and that is, hey, anything would be better than last year's finish. Just get on the podium and then get comfortable and tear him up for the rest of the races.
The Suzuki leaderboard with Raynard, Carmichael, Rand, Lytle, and Perolio. The race to the checkers for the 125 East continues when we return to the RCA Dome. Here is our leader in the 125 main, David Bailey. Number 21, Robbie Raynard.
Another way to look at the strategy of Carmichael, it does look like he's starting to pick up the pace a little bit. In the first couple of laps, it looked as though Raynard was a little faster and was going to pull away.
About a 2-second interval right now between 21 and number 6.
So 52-second lap times right now is what Raynard's running. He only went for the double. Carmichael tripled it.
On the stopwatch, let's check out the intervals now with your favorite rider. Also, we get a good, accurate lap time out of this.
What Carmichael can't do is give Raynard any confidence.
Lytle going by. Perolio is next.
This really sets the stage for the season for these guys. Looks like it's going to be between Raynard and Carmichael, and if RC can make this pass, he'll really make a statement. He won't let Raynard have any confidence built up in this first round. Last year it was arm pump problems for Raynard, and that's usually due to nerves.
9 laps to go. Raynard, Carmichael, Lytle, Sellers, Perolio, and Deegan, our lineup here for the 125 main event.
Coming up to the triple again. The last time Raynard only doubled it. Knows he's got to go for it this time, and the reason they're doubling it hard is because the face of that jump is rutted so bad.
Robbie Raynard Raynard, number 21. Right on his tail is Ricky Carmichael. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Chad, we talked about the fact you wanted him to run a conservative pace, not lose the race, but I don't think this is what you expected this late into the race, is it?
Well, actually, it don't surprise me a bit, because I know how fast Raynard can be. He can never underestimate the kid. So right now, Ricky's doing what I want him to. I want him to stay behind him and pressure him, and hopefully Raynard will make a mistake or get tired.
All right, there you got it, guys.
Look out, here comes RC. RC at the halfway point of the race. And he's right there. Raynard warmed up, as we mentioned, with some 250 action earlier. Look at RC going for the triple. Ricky Carmichael back in the lead. Oh, it's going to be a back-and-forth duel all the way, I have a feeling.
Well, what Carmichael had to do right there is approaching the triple, not follow, because if Raynard didn't go for it, he had to be able to keep the throttle on, make the pass. Then he drifted over that inside berm out into Raynard's line to make that pass stick. It's not dirty riding, just protecting the line.
2 bike lengths. Now down to 1 bike length. Robbie Raynard, number 21. Very careful during this important rhythm whoop section.
Seeing a lot more maturity this year from Carmichael. He was content to let Raynard get around, study his lines, learn as much as possible, then make the pass. Be interesting to see if he can pull away now.
Checking it out. Here's the pass.
Raynard only going for the double, and I think that's due to the rut. If you don't get the right rut, your bike sinks in there deep. Carmichael went for it, then he drifted out into the line. That's not the fastest line when you're running by yourself, but to make that pass stick, he had to go out there.
Carmichael has moved it out to a 5-back lead. What does Ricky expect from himself in 1998? This was his comment.
For myself, I expect to win the East Coast. You know, I put in a lot of time and effort, and so has the team, and I know I can do it. You know, it's up to me, and I've done all the work for sure, and I know some people are expecting me to win it, and I should be able to. So we're just going to play it by ear, and hopefully I won't have a problem.
Ricky Carmichael with a soft confidence.
He's just a kid. You know, it's amazing the success he's had already. Everybody expected him to come out of the amateur ranks and just dominate. He didn't do it indoors. He learned a lot, went outdoors, and did dominate. Now he wants to prove to everybody he can do it in the Supercross.
Robbie Raynard made a very good point before the race, saying that with Sheik not in the field as a contender for the points race, it'll make it easier. Here comes Raynard to the inside. Raynard to the inside on Ricky Carmichael. What a job of riding by these two. And leaping back into the lead is RC. Chad Watts saying, race the track. Go for it.
That was weird, Art. I don't understand. Carmichael reached up off the finish line jump. Looked like he was trying to fiddle with something on his face, and when we get a close shot, looks like his helmet strap is hanging down. I don't know if that's loose and messing with his concentration, but he just rode to the outside of that corner, pretty much gave the lead to Raynard.
Raynard to the inside, tries a similar move, but he can't get any thrust out of the corner. We're coming into lappers now. The blue flag with the diagonal yellow line is out. Please make room for the leaders, they're saying. Robbie Raynard trying to catch up now with Carmichael, as Carmichael has taken about an 8-bike lead. We'll see the checkers fly when we come back to the RCA Dome. Casey Lytle in 3rd place.
Getting overshadowed by all the attention up front, but Casey Lytle is actually putting together a pretty good race.
Casey, Honda of Troy out of California, won the pre-qualifying heat, and the white flag is out. Carmichael, Raynard, Lytle, Sillards, Perolio, and Smith.
And Carmichael's got a couple of triples and a great big finish line plateau to put that bike upside down. This kid can throw it so sideways in the air. Really fun to watch.
In his rookie 125 season last year, 3 Supercross victories, but suffered from some crashes. The title going to the consistent Tim Ferry, who did not win a race all year. Carmichael, though, was told by his mentor, Mitch Payton, don't worry about it. Make all your mistakes in this first rookie year in your 125 season. Then go out and win the title the next year.
Boy, what a way to start off. One more jump.
Ricky Carmichael, number 6. The checkers. And a lot of pressure has just been taken off this young man's shoulders as he starts a career that looks like might be one of the legends of this game if he continues on course. Ricky Carmichael has won the first round of 125 East action right here in the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. Marty Reed makes his way over to the victory podium. We'll hear those comments as he gets together with Carmichael and Drew right after this.
$750 from Suzuki.
On way to victory, Ricky Carmichael in his battle with Robbie Rayner, David Bailey.
This was an odd place of the race. Carmichael going wide on purpose there, looking over, knowing Rayner was there, and then jumping right back by him for the lead on the triple.
In just his second year of 125 action, Ricky Carmichael has captured his fourth 125 Supercross victory. It was Carmichael, Raynard, and Casey Lytle. A very good job from the Honda of Troy rider getting on the podium, followed by Brock Sellards and Danny Smith, who is racing for no points as he started out in the 125 West. So that's the top five. And as we take a look now at 6 through 10, I'm sure Marty Reed is anxious to ask Ricky Carmichael a few questions. Marty.
Yeah, we've got Ricky and Robbie and everybody down here. First off, the race looked like a big difference from last year. When you got past last year, you became too aggressive. This time, you sort of let the race come back to you, very patient.
Yeah, I got a pretty good start, and I knew that I would be strong all the way through the moto. And, you know, last year, if I wasn't at first, you know, I was bonsaiing, and I learned from my mistakes last year, and I rode a good race, and I'm just proud that I just didn't blow my head, you know, like I used to do last year, and I'm really happy with myself this weekend.
Were you surprised at how strong Robbie was early in the go there and how long he stayed with you?
Well, I knew he was going to be good. You know, he's a good rider. I've been watching him ever since I was a little kid, and, you know, he's a really good rider, and he's going to be up there all series, so I just got to know that he's going to be fast.
Well, let's slide on over and talk to the man who finished in second place. And I think, I made a comment that you were running out of gas. I think somebody may have thought you were, I was saying fuel, but it was physically. You looked like you were pumping up.
When I got out front, I started worrying about Ricky behind me instead of just focusing ahead. And you can't do that. You can't worry about the person behind you. You just got to focus ahead. And I just started losing my concentration out there. And then I started just get riding tight. And I don't know. I'm a little bit upset because I know I can ride the full amount without no problem, but I just wasn't thinking.
Well, the nice part is this is only round one.
Yeah, I know that. It's a long season, so I'm just going to try to be consistent and get a good start like every race and just try to do the best I can.
Well, guys, we'll find out next week at Atlanta.
At least, David Bailey, Robbie Rayner is really close there. And should something happen to Carmichael and Carmichael not come through in the next round as we move on to round 2 of the 125 East in Atlanta, Georgia, Ricky Carmichael, as we see on the Suzuki point standings, has that 3-point edge going to the next round. So as the celebration continues for the 125 podium winners, the question now is, can Lusk, LaRocco, Windham, can anybody derail Jeremy McGrath's winning streak? It's the running for the big bucks. The 250s are coming up next.
On Classic Sports Network.
Well, David, the stage is set for what looks like another McGrath-Lusk duel here in the main event.
They are just in a class by themselves in each of their heat races, just pulling away. They're both running about 49-second lap times, and if they get off anywhere in the top 5 together, we could see a battle like we saw in Phoenix from the beginning of the race, and I can't wait for that.
Last week's McGrath Button 1-2 Team Chaparral finish was reminiscent of the friendships of old days, like teammates Ricky Johnson and Jeff Stanton living together provided the perfect setting for learning and training.
It's a lot easier to have someone that races and that's one of your good friends to hang around because you do the same stuff and you have someone that wants to train alongside you, which makes it easier for me. I mean, I'm sure him as well, it makes it easier because we both want to we want to train, we want to ride, and we just follow the same schedule. And I know what it takes to win, and he's willing to do what he thinks, and we kind of work together. And I mean, most importantly, we're friends, and then all the other stuff just comes secondly.
When you're around someone that is, you know, a positive person and, you know, a great champion like Jeremy, you learn you kind of learn some things, what makes them tick, and and always not looking at things in a negative way, but looking at them in a positive way, and being real, not letting your emotions get to you, and being real confident in everything you do. So, I think living with him really taught me almost a life lesson on, how to be as a person and as a motorcycle racer.
Anyone who has gone to a club to work out knows it's a lot easier doing it with a friend, and those friendships, like Johnson and Stanton, also included bets and jokes. If one victored over the other, he had to go to the doghouse and walk the dog a little later on. The second winner, the season winner, I should say, had to flip burgers at McDonald's for the other one.
It was the most unbelievable thing that ever happened to me, for somebody to open up the door and, say, come stay with me for a while. And I learned more from one individual staying those 2 months, 2.5 months with him one winter. When you can live with a champion and stay with a champion and see what he does and the work ethic that he has and just get the right direction, it was the single best thing that ever happened to me.
Meanwhile, out in front, it's Jeff Stanton, rider number 7, and he's being chased by Rick Johnson for the second time tonight, rider number 1. What a startling development in round 6 of the Camel Supercross Series. And the exciting action is not over yet. Through that corner, Stanton looked behind him to find Johnson, and there he is. He didn't have to look far. The two are side by side. Johnson goes down. Rick Johnson got a little bit too much front brake as he tried to make that cut to dive underneath Jeff Stanton, and the front end simply washed out from under him. Just a few more corners, and Johnson in the number 2 position will see his win streak come to an end. Here comes Stanton, and the checkered flag is his. Jeff Stanton takes the win in Atlanta. Round number 6. Johnson's win streak ending at 5. Ricky Johnson, Jeff Stanton. Now it's Jeremy McGrath and Jimmy Button. Not too much different with you and Johnny O'Mara.
Right, it makes a huge difference. I mean, I think it's really important to keep up the intensity, too. When you're out practicing, chances are when you're by yourself, you're not going to push quite as hard as if you've got somebody out there. And O'Mara and I just pushed each other and kind of dared each other during the week to do stuff. It gave us a lot of confidence at the race.
Taking a look now at the Suzuki point standings. With 2 wins, McGrath by 27 points over Lusk, Windham and Emig in a battle for third, and all kinds of riders knocking on the door to get into that top 5. Jeremy McGrath surveying the track, David Bailey, before going to the gate.
Turns around, take a deep look at that deep rut, and so does Windham. These guys really pay attention to everything out there on the track. Lusk taking off right there. Look at Lusk's handlebars that he shot right there. Lusk and Carmichael, who just won that 125 main event. Both these guys ride together, and they're doing the same thing pretty much that Button and McGrath are doing on the East Coast, trying to bring each other's training and motivation and intensity up. They both run their handlebars really high. Lusk's even higher.
Taking a look at the starting grid, the Suzuki starting grid, and we've got all kinds of slow action on this survey. The survey of the track. Marty Reed, what's going on down there?
Well, guys, what they're looking at is all the ruts that they left behind. Now, the crew at Dirtworks did a great job of taking care of the triple jumps. They smoothed them out. But as you take a look right over my shoulder on this little stair-step effect, look at how deep these ruts really are. And the guys on all these smaller jumps, they realize that's how bad it's going to be by the end of the race on the triples. And we don't want to see anybody get cross-rutted. You're going to see somebody take some terrible, terrible air.
Last week, Jeremy McGrath tied the all-time combined record for AMA Supercross and Motocross wins. 63, set by Bob Hanna and tied by Rick Johnson. Now, even though McGrath doesn't think about records, he says, this is one he'd like to create a whole new standard with.
63 wins is a lot, and I never imagined on coming up on 63 wins, and now I'm tied with it. And I've always been in the past the type of person that I try not to look at the records and look at all that stuff. I just focus on each night, every Saturday night or Sunday if it's a national, and do the very best I can. And 63 race wins, if you think about it like that, it's a lot. So being able to break that record would be, I mean, it's never been done, so we're going into uncharted waters here. And hopefully if I end up beating it and I can continue what I'm doing here lately, I can just pad that lead or the record mark, and hopefully it'll take some time for someone else to catch it.
I think what we're seeing now is, especially this year, is a lot more depth. And for Jeremy to win the amount of races in that kind of time, the way the talent is today, it'd be a lot harder.
You saw Jeff Emig, and it'd be interesting to read his mind right now. As we now take a look at number 5, Mike LaRocco. He is the hometown guy living in South Bend, Indiana. He trains, of course, in California up through the preseason time. So this is really the first time he's been had a chance to see a lot of friends and family. Ezra Lusk alongside Mickael Pichon, Larry Ward. The 32nd board is up. And remember, the winner here over the last 6 years has won the Supercross title, according to our statistician, Davey Coombs. It's get nervous time.
Damon Huffman right there on the far right, number 15, and one rider just to the inside of him, Steve Lamson on the Honda. Those guys are gambling, trying to go all the way to the inside, hope they get a decent jump. Everybody gets pushed wide in the corner, and Art, every start has got a little more radical in that first corner.
So you expect some rubbing there?
I think so.
Okay, let's find out. Number 19, the 4-stroke, Doug Henry. Big lead. Jeff Emig right behind him, goes wide though. McGrath cuts in front. Jeremy McGrath in second, Emig in third. It's the 4-stroke out in front. Doug Henry, a big crowd favorite wherever he goes.
Lusk is down in the first corner. He has to take off his left glove. Something happened to his hand. He did a little fishtail in the first corner.
He's down there with John Dowd, I think, or Windham.
That's Kevin Windham, Pichon, and Ryan Hughes all got caught up in that, and so did Mike Craig. So
Michael Craig just takes the goggles off. While out in front, it's Henry. McGrath. Emig being pressured by Michael Brown. Upon of Troy, number 100. Lamson, number 17 next. And Sebastian.
Here's the replay. Watching the black jersey, number 3, Ezra Lusk gets all the way sideways. As to the far right, Ryan Hughes goes off the racetrack. Over to the left, just out of our view.
And there's Albertyn.
Something happened to Ezra Lusk, causing him to go down. I think when he got sideways, he got hit from behind. So in terms of the title chase, this is just devastating for Honda and Ezra Lusk.
Doug Henry now under great pressure from McGrath. They will lap Ezra Lusk, who's coasting around.
I hope Ezra Lusk isn't hurt. I saw him working that hand, moving those fingers back and forth.
Henry gets to pick his own line. He better pick the right one. Here's McGrath to the inside. Oh, that torque of the 4-stroke out of the corner. But McGrath takes him in the whoops. Jeremy McGrath now on the straightaway. Is it goodbye time? Now that he's in the lead, can Henry hang on to it?
McGrath went through that corner like a slingshot. The guy's timing right now is just incredible, and Lusk is going to probably score a 20th here. He is dead last, cruising around. It looks like he may not even be able to finish the race. You see his left hand there. He's working it. It feels weird to go out after years and years of riding with gloves to just try to finish a race without a glove, but
here's the battle behind McGrath. Henry is getting a big challenge, number 19, from number 100, Mike Brown. This is Mike Brown's best 250 race that I can remember.
I talked to him before the San Diego round, and like I've been saying, a lot of these guys felt like they've had a chance to get up there and run. They feel like their pace is good. They just haven't had an opportunity, and Brown's got his now.
Emig has moved into 4th. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, one of those guys in that crash, Mike Craig, you may have a broken wrist.
I don't know who it was, but somebody's fork landed right on my arm and thrashed me pretty good. I want to ride, but it hurts too bad right now.
We got to let this guy go to a doctor, guys.
Here's the battle for second as Jeremy McGrath with a 2-second lead on number 19, Henry, and Michael Brown. Brown's best of the season was an 8 in Seattle. Look out, it's bar to bar. In the rhythm section, Michael Brown will have to go to the outside. Though he cuts underneath, what a move. Oh, beautiful. My goodness.
Beautiful move, but what Henry's got is comes out of the outside. He's jumping something into that wood section a little different than everybody else. Working really good for him, and it helped him get that pass back.
Watching this battle for second place, Mike Brown and Henry just going at it as they go over the finish line jump. Michael Brown goes down. He held up Henry in the process, and Emig has now moved into second place. A light year away from our leader, Jeremy McGrath. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana, where Jeremy McGrath is leading this race. Take another look at Henry and Brown in second and third.
This is what happened. Brown came over the plateau jump, over-jumped it a little bit, got into those braking bumps, and that soil is like a marshmallow. It soaks up all your speed. He had the front wheel turned a little bit. Henry had nowhere to go but up into him, and those guys lost a lot of time.
McGrath with the big lead, but we've got a battle royal going on for second place. Emig and Jimmy Button. Button has moved up through the crew once again, like he did last week.
Button's got to contain himself here and ride smart. He told us he wouldn't make the same mistake again. Remember, it was Emig that kind of used up a lot of the track and irritated him, and he went back in there, tried to pass him, and went down.
The Suzuki leaderboard with McGrath on top with an 8-second lead. But the battle is on. Did you see that move by Emig on Button?
Well, he knew Button had come in on the inside. There was nothing he could do but to just stop early and square it, and did a perfect job of it. I'm sure Button expected it.
Jimmy Button cuts in front of Emig.
But here it is, and a look over his shoulder, in your face, and Button trying to protect that inside line there as well. These guys riding defensive against each other is allowing Larry Ward to close the gap.
Larry Ward, number 4, moving up on Emig now as we go back to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, remember it was Jeff Emig that got into Jimmy Button's head in the heat race. Remember, he got too aggressive. That little look, that was his thank you. See you later, fella.
Yes, it was.
And it's a big turning point for Jeff Emig, I believe, right now. McGrath, the big leader. Button in second, like last week. But look at Larry Ward, Team Suzuki. Ward has not hit a podium yet this year. He did get that fine 4th place finish in Seattle, but he's taking on Jeff Emig. What a bone crusher this would be mentally for Jeff Emig.
And already Emig's forced to ride defensive. If he would have taken the outside right there, Ward would have got around anyway, and he was in a no-win situation.
Ward to the inside. Does he have the power to stay there in 3rd place? Larry Ward, Team Suzuki in 3rd. He started 12th last week and made it all the way back to 5th in San Diego. And in that inspired performance in Seattle, taking a 4th. But right now, he's got his first podium chance of the year. McGrath, Button, Ward, Henry, Tortelli, and Lamps in the order. Lee McCullough. That's Ward's mechanic. Does he have his fingers and toes crossed?
Yes, he does. He knows if he can go after Jimmy Button. He won the battle between himself and Button in Seattle, a couple of corners to go. So if it comes down to the wire again, Larry Ward, with all that experience riding up front over the years, one of the older guys out there, a veteran, may make a better decision when it comes down to the final couple of corners.
This could be the first podium for Team Suzuki this year.
It's just amazing. McGrath is so far ahead.
Number 9, John Dowd is down, just getting up and moving now out of the whoop section, but he went down for the 2nd time.
The way the track's designed, McGrath comes out of the corner going one way, and he can see his teammate Button coming the other, and that's got to make him feel good. These guys were so happy to go 1-2.
Check out number 19, Doug Henry on the 4-stroke. He's now making a move on Emig, and right behind Emig is his teammate from Team Kawasaki. That's number 103 on the left side. They're having a little bit of trouble in the whoops. Sebastian Tortelli.
Putting together a pretty good ride. Hasn't really had an opportunity to, after hurting his knee, to get up there and challenge with these guys. McGrath already moving out to an 8-second lead, and I'm impressed, Art, with Henry. Going down that corner right there, it takes so much out of you to pick it up and get going again, especially the 4-stroke.
He must have kept that 4-stroke moving, though. I mean, as far as the motor.
No, I think he learned that lesson in L.A. Keep that thing running no matter what. And to be able to get back in there and be a factor in this race and have a shot at the podium is a real testament to his training and desire.
Lampson is also coming up on Tortelli. Here comes Henry.
This is where he makes his time, Art, right here. Watch him jump this section. But then
Henry cuts him off. He's using the track, baby. Henry takes a little bail with him, the tough box, then slides out, but he's still up and moving.
Well, what happened is rear wheel was in that rut coming out of the corner. He was still leaning to the inside, and boy, was it lucky that he didn't get caught up by Tortelli. It just barely missed him and back tire by inch.
Let's take another look. Doug Henry's problems.
Well, Emig just moving to his left. I mean, you can't blame the guy. He's trying to hold his position. Henry did a great job to save it. Watch his back tire. Got on the gas a little too early, and Tortelli just about hit him. If he'd have hit him, they'd have both gone down.
And so McGrath still in the lead, but Jimmy Button a comfortable second place. It's Ward in third with Emig and Tortelli. Back and forth we go. Tortelli and Ward. Or Emig and Tortelli, I should say. I'm sorry.
Tortelli making a beautiful pass on Emig, who's just struggling right now. It's obvious having a tough time through this whoop section. Tortelli clearly faster, but Emig always able to retaliate. As soon as he gets past, he passes the guy right back.
This is Sebastian Tortelli's final race in America before going over to the GP Wars, where he will contend for a title there. He's right behind his teammate, Jeff Emig, but Lampson has been given time to catch up on the two. This is the battle for fourth. Jeremy McGrath with better than an 8-second lead on Jimmy Button. Ward is starting to pick up on Button, however.
Those two are going to go down to the wire. And it's going to be the smarter of the two. The guy that doesn't make any mistakes is going to come out on top of that battle. And here again, Tortelli making his move in the same place. But he made a mistake just before this corner of the last lap. That's what enabled Emig to get by. This time he was through there clean.
Lusk is out of the race. He has a DNF.
Lampson finding his way around Emig through that whoop section. So the whoop sections all year have been a real challenge for Emig. Just uncomfortable through there.
But unable to get a big advantage in second place like he did last week in San Diego. And Ward is trying to pick up another spot.
See him heading into that section that's kind of a mountain of loops. The rut to start it off. That was the section that Marty gave us a shot of right before the start. You got to have perfect balance entering that section. You get crossed up in one of those ruts, and you got to go over that mountain of whoops. Out of control.
Tortelli and Lampson in front of Emig.
And just when it looked like in the heat race, Emig had a shot at getting out there and having a good race. Here in the main, struggling again, just getting past everywhere.
Suzuki leaderboard. Ward in third, Tortelli and Lampson. Fourth and fifth are top five. But it's McGrath dominating. Looking like he will become the all-time career leader in wins when you count motocross action and supercross action together.
Putting an exclamation point on it, too. I mean, the guy is so far ahead. As Button does the triple, Jeremy's going by the other way. He just saw the top of him going by.
Here comes Larry Ward. He cuts to the inside. Button. They almost collide. Let's go to Marty.
You guys were talking about Jeremy McGrath. I'm keeping the stopwatch on. He's doing it so easy as we've got that great battle. It looked like Ward had the inside line. Now they're down that section. McGrath's doing it at 51-second laps. Nobody's putting any pressure on him.
Here comes Ward. Ward cutting to the outside, now goes inside using the track. He's got second on Button. Can he hold it as they go over the finish line jump with 6 laps to go? What a race by Larry Ward. They drastically changed the bike. Lee McCollum, his mechanic, Larry Ward, got together before Seattle. Radical changes to the suspension, and it's made all the difference in the world.
Well, all he needed was a good finish up there. Gave him a little bit of confidence. Didn't get the start he would like to have gotten in the road. Didn't ride quite like he should have in San Diego, but right here, putting it back together, it's going to do a lot for his confidence for the rest of the season.
Let's get it right from Lee, Marty.
Lee McCollum, you guys haven't had much to cheer about right now. He's in second.
Yeah, he's going pretty good. He's making his way up to the front, and he's riding really well. He likes this track a lot, and it shows right now.
Well, the sign he put up last lap, guys, was "Show me."
And he has. He's put a big lead on Button since he passed him.
So now Jimmy Button simply trying to hold on to a podium spot for Chaparral Yamaha, as the very experienced Larry Ward, once he gets in a position like this in the past, he's held on.
Yes, he has, unless he's had somebody like Emig or McGrath breathing down his neck the final couple of corners. Then you see Larry playing it smart. And right here, it looks like Jimmy Button has decided, you know what, I can't run the pace of Ward. I learned my lesson in Seattle. I'm going to ride smart and get on the podium with my teammates.
Jeremy McGrath came into this race in Indianapolis leading 53 of the 100 laps so far. Well, he's going to up that ratio after this one, David.
Just amazing. And I really trying to put my finger on what seems to be Emig's problem, but he just doesn't seem comfortable out there. And I use the word confidence a lot when I'm talking on the show, and that's the name of the game at this level. If you don't have the confidence to go out there and attack a whoop section in third gear, and just try to skim the tops of those things the way McGrath is doing, you're going to get past. And the more you get past, the more it just demoralizes you.
McGrath, Ward in second, Button in third. Portelli, a good job holding off Lamson, and Emig behind Lamson. And here's number 2, Jeremy McGrath, cruising with a smooth style. He's got the lead he wants on a track that is his kind of track, a very fast track, good technique track.
He's starting to stay out of the ruts, entering that corner there before the finish. He's not going out to use the outside. He's staying out of the inside rut, staying out of them there. Playing it very safe as we put up the Honda stopwatch. Jeremy over the triple. We'll get a lap time on him, and Larry Ward should be coming by.
Here's Ward, jumping the triple at 9.5.
So a comfortable lead.
And about 14.5 for Button.
Jeremy will just keep tabs on Ward. He'll continue to push a little bit, because if you back off, the track starts to look a little different. You start to hit stuff you weren't hitting when you were at speed. So
Jeremy McGrath has hit the podium in every race. He has not had a bad race this year, starting with a third in Los Angeles, 2 second places. Right now, he's gunning for his 3rd consecutive victory. You know, Jeremy McGrath is looking to bring the Supercross title to a Yamaha for the first time since 1980. A guy named Bell back in those days.
I remember that. 52.7 for McGrath. I raced against Bell. Remember when he won the championship? Too tall Bell, they call him. 6'3". Guy looked like Spider-Man on the bike, but boy, can he ride a Supercross track. He could soak up a jump and make it look like it wasn't even there.
The only battle is between Lamson, Emig, and LaRocco for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Let's go back to Marty.
Well, I'm down here with Randy Lawrence, and Randy, he's running about 51, 52-second laps, and now the lead's down to about 5.5. You going to tell him to pick it up?
No, he's been watching the other guys to see where they're at. It's down to 1 lap now, so he's just kind of watching Larry Ward to finish the race.
Does this sound like a confident mechanic or what?
White flag lap. Jeremy McGrath over the finish line jump. Whenever Jeremy has taken over the points lead in the 250 Supercross, he has never lost it. The final lap for number 2 on the Chaparral Yamaha, Jeremy McGrath.
You might see a knack-knack here, but I think it's a little bit too rutted. The other thing about Jeremy is once he's gotten that points lead and all those titles, he's won by a huge margin going down the stretch, and that was the hope of Lusk. To try to keep the pressure on, forced Jeremy hopefully into a mistake since he hadn't had a real bad race yet, and Lusk has, but now disaster for Lusk. 2 weeks in a row, way off the pace. Due to bad luck.
Yeah, more bad luck for Lusk. There's no question about it. Lusk pretty much blaming himself for the bad luck, and look at there. LaRocco is trying to pass, and does. Jeff Emig. The checkers for Jeremy. Jeremy McGrath has won his 3rd Supercross of 1998 and will take a decisive points lead coming out of this round as he congratulates a tremendous performance from Larry Ward of Team Suzuki in 2nd place. So Ward trying to push his way up toward the top 5. 3rd place goes to Jimmy Button as well, stopping to say hello to his friend and teammate on the Chaparral team. An outstanding performance, as you see there. The family in tears. Jack McGrath, see his profile there. His mom, Tracy, his sister on the left.
I think this is an emotional scene, not only because he's just become the winningest rider of all time, but also the bad luck to Lusk. This is looking really good for a 5th straight, or not a 5th straight, but a 5th and unprecedented Supercross title. 27-point lead going in. That's going to grow huge because Emig placed well back in the pack.
Well, if you want to talk records, you could talk for 2 months about Jeremy McGrath. And it increasingly surprises me along the way that we find records he doesn't own.
And you know, through it all and all the expectation and changing teams, Jeremy has remained Jeremy. I haven't seen him fluctuate in his personality much. That's one thing I really admire. I've always admired that about Michael Jordan, with the kind of fame and the people tossing at him for years and years, and McGrath has had pretty much the same thing in motocross, and he's remained a good kid.
So Lusk with only 1 point And Jeremy McGrath not only dominates the season, but now taking the bows that he deserves. The fans standing, seeing history made here in Supercross in the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, and before a record crowd as well. We've never had more people here in the RCA Dome to see a Supercross race. Well, we'll be right back, and I'm sure anxious to hear what Jeremy has to say now about superseding Bob Hanna and Ricky Johnson one more time. AMA Supercross has been brought to you by Honda Motorcycles, celebrating 50 years with great deals during Honda Dream Days. And by Suzuki Motorcycles and ATVs. Now during Suzuki Fest 98, get $500 worth of accessories for free and choose from great deals like zero down or low APR financing on selected models. Number 2 on his plate right now, gunning for number 1 once again, looking for a 5th Supercross title. Jeremy McGrath takes a 45-point lead on the 1998 season. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, I'm down here with another history making. You know what? We got to stop doing this. I mean, I can't keep tabs on all this history that we keep making. Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, you destroyed the field.
Thanks a lot, Marty. My Chaparral Yamaha 800 Collect Mazda machine, Bridgestone tires was hooking up out there. You know, I got a really good start, came in the corner really good. You know, I had to pass one person, Henry, and as soon as I got around him, it just kind of was free and clear.
You, right now, have a 45-point lead. I mean, at this stage, everyone who's won this race the last 6 years has won the championship. Once you've gotten the points lead, you've never surrendered it. Is this season over? Are we starting another streak here? Is that what we're going to be doing each week, just talking about win after win?
Well, I would like to think so. You know, I feel really confident. My bike is working excellent. And, you know, you can't count your chickens before they hatch, you know. And, you know, I feel really good out there. And Randy Lawrence is doing a great job on my bike. And, you know, with the combination of the team and Randy and my parents and all the support, you know, everything's just flowing and it's just happening. And I'm trying not to worry about the points. I just want to win races.
Well, he may not have been talking about counting chickens, but he's cooking everybody else's goose.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the official results now here for today's round in Indianapolis. McGrath, Ward, and Button on the podium. Sebastian Tortelli, a very fine race by Sebastian, coming back for 4th place. Lampson in 5th, LaRocco 6th, Emig all the way down to 7th as we go back to Marty.
This is the high point of the year for Suzuki, and you, the old veteran with the second chance, is the man who delivers.
Yeah, you know, I've been working real hard. I had a couple weekends there, the second, third weekend, I wasn't even in the top 10, and I had to have a gut check. I didn't know if it was me or the bike, and these last 3 weeks I've been riding as hard as I possibly could. The Suzuki's getting better every weekend, and tonight I was charged and I was catching him. I know he was pacing himself a little bit, but I was definitely catching him.
What does this do for the team? I mean, I know that the Suzuki camp has been asking themselves every question in the book.
Yeah, you know, hopefully that now that we got a podium finish and I rode real strong tonight and I've been riding good last couple weekends, it'll motivate Japan. I think all our bikes are equal. Maybe they'll get excited over there and come up with something new for next weekend, and my bike can be a little bit faster than all the rest of them.
Well, life's certainly gotten interesting, Art.
There on the podium with his teammate, Jim Button, who took 3rd place. Let's take a look at the Suzuki point standings in the 250. After this round, Jeremy McGrath with 139 points has a 45-point lead on Jeff Emig, whose 7th place moved him past Ezra Lusk, who was in 20th.
Yeah, we're with a very smart Jimmy Button, because you came up and said, I had some arm pump and I wasn't going to throw away the podium.
Yeah, exactly. I was riding real good. You know, I got into 2nd place. Got around my nemesis pro out there, so I was happy about that. But then, I don't know, I settled into a good place and then just, you know, got a little bit of arm pump. I was blitzing the whoops the whole race, so I think maybe that has something to do with it. Not really my conditioning. Conditioning's great right now, but, you know, Larry was catching me. I didn't want to, you know, make a big mistake and throw away a podium finish, you know, a lot of points. So, I don't know. Happy 1-800 Collect, Chaparral Yamaha, Bridgestone tires, everybody, they should be real happy, and especially all the people in the crowd tonight from 1-800 Collect. The president of MCI is here, so, you know, it's just a great feeling for that and for the whole team.
Hey, guys, he's already taller than me, but with the confidence, I'm afraid I'm going to have to get a stepladder to talk to him if he keeps this up.
As number 2, Jeremy McGrath puts the exclamation mark on today's victory. As we take a look at the victory podium, Larry Ward still being interviewed by the PA system here in the RCA Dome. It's our pleasure, Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed, to say thank you so much for being with us. Exciting round number 6 in Indianapolis. Join us in the Georgia Dome next week from Atlanta. Supercross, presented by ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.